A winter blast for the start of spring.
First, rain mixing with ice, then a round of heavy snow.
We track the storm as it moves across Maryland. The hour-by-hour time frame when the roads could be the worst and which areas can expect the most inches of snow.
Fox 45 News at 10 starts now.
Off the top at 10 tonight, preparing for a winter blast. Here is a live look at the Fox 45 mobile track and from our tower cam in Towson. As you can see, all quiet right now, but things are about to change.
Oh, and they are. We're getting ready for quite a bit of snow on the day that spring starts, ironically enough.
This forecast has been changing throughout the day, especially concerning the amount of snow that may fall in this area. Chief
Meteorologist Vetus Reed has been tracking this developing storm all day. Vetus, what's the latest?
Well, the numbers keep going up. This is a major storm. This may be the biggest storm as far as snowfall totals for the mid-Atlantic for our region that we are going to experience with this system. We have two areas to focus on. This area of low pressure just southwest of St. Louis, that's going to continue to track our way, and that's going to deepen and strengthen as it moves off the coast. And we have more activity down towards Jacksonville. That's going to ride the coast. This is the storm actually that's going to be more significant as this gives it more energy as it rides up the coast. So definitely we do have a weather alert day starting with tomorrow into tomorrow night, and then it's really going to turn up as we get into tomorrow night into Wednesday. And Wednesday is going to be the key day where we get most of that heavy snowfall. So we already have winter storm watches for all of central Maryland, northern Virginia, western Maryland, looking at the eastern shore as well, over into Pennsylvania, Delaware, New Jersey, stretching all the way up I-95. This will be a blast for everyone. And it's going to be very difficult to travel in this. We'll get a lot of delays from this because for the amount of snowfall that's going to come down across the region. So let's time it out when I'm looking at the arrival. We're going to first have to deal with some rain, and it's going to be starting off in the morning. We're looking at about 5:30 in the morning, some light showers coming in, mixing with some sleet across the area. Around 8 o'clock in the morning, and by the after the morning rush, we'll probably get that snow coming in on the northern tier of the state, and it looks like that will start to pick up across the region. And then it continues to churn up quite a bit across the area, becoming more snow, and then that's going to start filling in as we get into the evening hours. Now, what we're going to see here with this weather alert is that it's going to be changing from rain to sleet overnight, a wintry mix for Tuesday. So it's going to start turning into more of the sleeting action in the afternoon, and then it gets cold enough to turn more into snow. Heavy snow expected for late Tuesday night, then into Wednesday morning, Wednesday afternoon. Travel will be impaired. We're going to see some areas with as much as a foot of snow across parts of Maryland. Yes, a foot of snow over parts of Maryland. I'm going to show you who will get that foot of snow as well as who may get as much as 5 to 8 inches potentially across the area coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Vetus, thank you. Get the very latest forecast, road conditions, and any school closings, delays, or cancellations tomorrow morning on Fox 45 Morning News. That information will be on the screen, even during commercials on the Fox 45 News ticker. The newscast begins at 4:30 a.m.
State highway crews were out during the day today getting the roads ready. This is another look from our mobile track. It's looking live there tonight. You can see the lines of brine along the roads in Baltimore, Harford, and Carroll counties. Other counties, too, those more south and east. The roads were not pre-treated because they're expected to get more rain. And, of course, that would just wash away the brine. So based on what type of accumulation we get, plow and salt trucks will be out treating roads as needed.
They're clearing the path ahead of them, leaving you with a nice, cleared, treated roadway. If you go around them, you're playing gamble with a 54-ton piece of machinery.
Well, if you can, send us your pictures and videos as the storm hits your area. Just open up the Fox 45 News app and click See It, Send It. We might show your pictures live during our newscast.
The hunt for the person responsible for planting bombs in Austin, Texas continues today. A fourth bomb was tripped, this time using a wire that was nearly impossible to see. Law enforcement officials believe the most recent bombing is connected to the others.
We have seen similarities in the device that exploded here last night and the other 3 devices that have exploded in Austin. The big difference in this device, again, is we believe that a tripwire was used in this device.
As the investigation intensifies, police are asking the person or persons responsible to make contact and let them know why they're doing it.
Well, of course, the bombings raise major questions about security, how law enforcement can ward off these kind of attacks. Fox 45's Alexa Ashwell sat down with a former FBI agent today. She joins us now live with more. Alexa?
Well, Jennifer, here's a map of all the explosions that occurred this month. The first 3 involved a package that exploded. 2 people were killed, but as you all just mentioned, the 4th, there was a shift in method from a package to a tripwire. While this raises new challenges, all are soft targets. Neighborhoods, which experts admit in an open society is difficult to prevent. That's why time is so important right now.
They have identified him as a serial bomber, which means that they believe that he intends to do more bombings.
A race against time. Right now, former FBI agent Tyrone Power says federal agents in Austin are testing and tracing materials used in 4 separate bombings, searching for this serial bomber he believes is likely to strike again.
It is clear right now that they don't want to be caught right now. They haven't sent a letter, they haven't sent a manifesto, they haven't asked for anything, they haven't made any specific threats right now. So right now, they're in the stage of avoiding capture until they do enough damage.
So how will law enforcement best protect the public? Hardening soft targets, relying on tips from the public and federal resources.
You increase surveillance, you increase your use of assets and informants. That's what you get when you call in the federal agency. They have individuals on the street who are gathering information all the time. They have sophisticated equipment and technology that can get you that information. They will trace the devices, the components of the particular devices.
Powers added this serial bomber may be well aware of the technology and capabilities of law enforcement and used this latest method as a misdirection tactic. More on that at 11. Jennifer?
Alexa, thank you. And stay right here. We'll take you live to Austin for the latest on the investigation. That's coming up new at 10:30 tonight.
We have breaking news out of Parkland, Florida. The brother of accused gunman Nicholas Cruz is arrested after he went onto the campus of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High. According to the arrest report, Zachary Cruz told investigators that he went to the school to reflect on the shooting and, quote, soak it in. He now faces trespassing charges. Last month, police say Nicholas Cruz opened fire at the high school, killing 17 people.
Bermuda police confirmed that they have found the body of 19-year-old Mark Dombrowski. He was on a rugby tour with St. Joseph's University of Philadelphia when he disappeared early yesterday morning. Police are not releasing a cause of death in this case at this point.
2 top investigators take the witness stand in the murder trial of Michael Johnson. This afternoon, the Baltimore detective who initially handled the case testified Michael Johnson didn't want his interviews with police recorded. Hours earlier, an investigator with Maryland State Police testified. He took over the case after Felicia Barnes' body was found in the Susquehanna River in Harford County.
My daughter's body floating in the river. You know, that's terrible. And the rubbish we found her in, that's heart-wrenching.
Although the case went before a grand jury in Harford County, it ended up at the Baltimore City State's Attorney's Office because of jurisdictional issues.
State police are searching for the driver who triggered an 18-car crash on Interstate 270 this morning. The crash happened around 5:30. Witnesses tell police a tractor-trailer changed lanes, causing the pileup. Several people were taken to the hospital, too, with serious injuries.
Texting while driving is already illegal, but Maryland lawmakers are taking action to severely increase the fines. John Rydell is live in Annapolis right now with more on what you could pay if caught texting behind the wheel. John?
Well, Kai, how would you like to pay a $500 fine if you're caught texting while driving more than once, even if you didn't cause an accident? Well, it could happen under a bill that was just passed by the Maryland House of Delegates. Now, some new numbers compiled by AAA show that 40,000 motorists were caught texting while driving. They were given tickets, and another 10,000 were giving warning citations. Well, right now, first-time offenders pay a $75 fine and up to $175 if you're caught texting a second time. But there's some lawmakers in Annapolis that believe that's not high enough.
We've seen it throughout Maryland where we've had these accidents where people are on their phone or either texting, and it's just got to stop.
They could have been sitting at a stoplight texting and could get a $500 fine. That's a lot of money. And if someone needs to buy a hands-free device, they can't afford to buy a hands-free device and pay a $500 fine.
Well, the higher fines are not yet a done deal. This bill still has to be reviewed by the Maryland Senate. Live in Annapolis, John Rydell, Fox 45 News.
New tonight, a sudden change in the avenue in White Marsh. The Tilted Kilt restaurant suddenly closes its doors on Sunday. Now, the change seems to have caught nearly everyone off guard. The restaurant's assistant manager posted on Facebook they had no idea this was going to happen. Today, the avenue announced that Bar Louie would be opening.
There's a lot more coming up tonight on Fox 45 News at 10.
You first have to admit that you have one, and we have one.
A Project Baltimore report prompts a push for change across the state. How this woman's story inspired a lawmaker. A Project Baltimore report next.
Facebook under fire. Was there social media meddling in the 2016 campaign? The information Facebook may have about you that could have been shared without you knowing it.
And a teacher charged, the inappropriate behavior he's accused of, and how many schools he worked in just the past 2 years.
And once again, I'm tracking a major storm that's going to be heading our way. We're going to see the rain changing to sleet overnight, and then through tomorrow morning, a wintry mix through the day, and then it becomes heavy snow. Some areas are going to get several inches, as much as a foot, across parts of the state. This is going to be a big storm, probably the biggest of the season for us here in Maryland. I'll have a closer look at how that will affect you and your totals in your neighborhood coming up after the break.
The substitute teacher arrested in Montgomery County is accused of inappropriately touching students. That substitute has worked in more than 36 schools in Howard County during the past 2 years, according to Howard County officials. Investigators say Stephen Katz has admitted to inappropriately touching an elementary-age student in Montgomery County. Howard County school officials say Mr. Katz also spent time in classrooms there in more than half the Howard County school system.
This individual has been substituting in our school system for approximately 6 years. Our data takes us back 2 years as far as the active jobs. We have 76 schools, and we have indication that he has been involved in 43 of our schools.
In a statement this evening, the interim superintendent of Howard County Schools says they have begun reviewing substitute teachers. For a complete list of schools in Howard County where the suspect worked, go to foxbaltimore.com/newslinks. Tonight, a push in Annapolis to pass a law mandating public school students read at grade level.
No such law currently exists in our state. And as Project Baltimore lead investigative reporter Chris Papps explains, a recent Fox 45 report has been injected into this debate. Chris?
Well, Kai and Jennifer, when city mom Michelle Bradley bravely told her story to Project Baltimore earlier this year, her hope was that it could lead to some sort of positive change. And it appears that may happen.
I know it's easy for someone to judge me, but until you walk a mile in my shoes, it's very embarrassing.
That was city resident Michelle Bradley in early February, speaking to Project Baltimore about a secret she's kept for decades. Despite making it to 9th grade in city schools, she can't read.
How did you survive?
It was hard. It was hard. It was hard.
Bradley's interview with Fox 45 was so powerful, it made it all the way to Annapolis, where Maryland's elected officials couldn't turn away.
Literacy, I think, is a civil right.
Carroll County delegate Susan Krebs saw Project Baltimore's story with Bradley and was so moved she wanted the entire House Ways and Means Committee to watch it as she introduced legislation to help ensure this doesn't happen to another generation of students.
Without literacy, our students cannot be successful.
In Carroll County, 15 years ago, Krebs helped draft and pass a reading policy, which mandates every student in 3rd grade must read at grade level.
The first 3 years you're learning to read, and then after that, you're reading to learn. If you do nothing else, you teach people how to read.
Krebs says that policy has been a success, which the numbers seem to support. Project Baltimore analyzed state testing data and found last year 40% of 3rd graders statewide tested proficient in English language arts. Carroll County is around 51% and increasing faster than the state average. Krebs attributes much of that success to the county's reading policy, which she would like the entire state to now adopt.
They failed me because if you're passing me.
So with Bradley as her motivation, Krebs recently introduced House Bill 1311. Similar to Carroll County, it creates a statewide reading policy, which mandates every Maryland third grader must read at or above grade level before moving to fourth grade, with a few exceptions, like for English language learners.
Students who are not reading proficiently in the third grade are 4 times more likely to drop out of high school.
The goal? To ensure there are no more stories like the one these delegates watched.
In order to solve a problem, you first have to admit that you have one, and we have one.
A goal that, if achieved, would make happiest the woman who told it.
It's embarrassing, but if my story, my testimony can help somebody, help a child that is like me, I'll take the last. I'll take all of it.
House Bill 1311 is still in committee, but a similar bill has passed out of the House, which Delegate Krebs supports. Now, critics of the bill favor reading policies only on a county level due to differences in demographics across the state.
Well, Chris, a question. Does this bill come with more funding? Would taxpayers have to pay more if it passes?
Well, the bill does not come with more funding. Krebs says that in Carroll County, they didn't need more money. They just reprioritized the money they did have, and that's what she thinks that the entire state should be doing. Now, as always, we want to hear from you. Do you have something you want Project Baltimore to investigate? Call our hotline, send us an email. Go to foxbaltimore.com to follow our progress. I'm Chris Pabst, and this is Project Baltimore.
Chris, thank you.
Look at that video. This is from storms in Alabama tonight. This video coming in from a storm chaser. Hail pounding the windshield, causing serious damage. It's just part of the winter blast coming together to hit Maryland. On the left, you're looking at more video from storms in Alabama. At least one tornado was reportedly seen there. On the right, a live look at our tower cam in Towson. As you can see, all is quiet right now, but that very well may change overnight as winter refuses to leave without a fight.
It's really quite a contrast. They are starting to move into early spring, which can mean tornado season in the south and southeast, and we're talking about a snowstorm.
Yeah, and it sounds like it could be a lot of it. Here's Chief Meteorologist Vitas Reed with an update on the latest totals. Is this for real, Vitas?
Yeah, it looks like we're going to see some snow coming our way. In fact, you talk about those severe storms. It's all behind a warm front that's down to the south where they're sending some very churned up atmosphere, and this is a very strong low that's moving across the Ohio-Tennessee Valley, and then we have a secondary low that's over Georgia that's going to be really turning up, giving us the moisture value that's going to come into play for us as we go through the day. We saw highs today, 60 degrees. Can you believe that? It was a beautiful pre-spring day. Today was the last official full day of winter, but we had temperatures in the 60s and 50s across the state, so very warm temperatures. But you can see out there, it is quiet right now, and we'll continue to see the chances for that snow building in with the temperature dropping 42 degrees down into the 30s overnight. These temperatures will get much colder as we go through the day tomorrow, changing that rain into snow, and it looks like we have that potential for the heaviest amount of snowfall really light along the northern tier of the state, and as you get back towards western Maryland. We're talking about areas out in western Maryland as much as 12 to 18 inches of snow, anywhere from Cumberland out west. So we're on an I-95 corridor winter storm watch right now. All of the state under this watch, and it looks like this is going to be moving in through the morning, afternoon, and really start changing over to the snow, the heavy wet snow, overnight on Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So really your morning commute and afternoon commutes will be really greatly impacted as we get into Wednesday. So that's going to be the main problem and the main threat. So I'm getting the last information in right now with the latest snow totals that are coming up. In fact, that's the latest model runs coming in, and it should be right on point as much as how much snow is going to come down coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Vitas, thank you. Coming up on Fox 45 News at 10, we'll take you to Austin live for the latest on the investigation into the deadly series of bombings there. New information coming up in less than 10 minutes.
An amazing win on the court and online. You'll hear from the person who handled UMBC's Twitter account as the team turned up the basketball world upside down.
But next, Facebook under fire. How the Trump campaign may have gotten its hands on information from tens of millions of people in the U.S. That's in less than 3 minutes on Fox 45 News at 10.
Facebook is taking considerable fire tonight.
There are reports that the company let a data mining firm affiliated with the Trump campaign have access to information about tens of millions of users. Facebook today playing defense after this whistleblower claims the company failed to protect the personal data of up to 50 million people, later used by an outside firm to target voters in 2016.
Facebook, at least in a technical sense, facilitated the project.
The breach began when Facebook allowed a Cambridge University professor to create an app called This Is Your Digital Life. When users signed up, it asked about their education, work history, relationships, and political affiliation. That professor, according to Facebook, then illegally sold the information to an analytics firm to influence voter opinions.
What Cambridge Analytica does is works on creating a web of disinformation online so that people start going down the rabbit hole of clicking on blogs, websites, etc., that make them think that certain things are happening that may not be.
The Trump campaign hired Cambridge Analytica, a firm backed by former campaign manager Steve Bannon and wealthy Republican donor Robert Mercer, although both the company and the Trump campaign say none of the Facebook information was used in the election. Critics are not convinced.
Who knew it? When did they know it? How long did this go on? And what happens to that data now?
CEO Mark Zuckerberg could be called to Capitol Hill to explain.
We need to find out what we can about the misappropriation of the privacy, the private information of tens of millions of Americans.
The company faces two critical questions. One, did it fail to report the unauthorized access to the federal government as required? And did it obtain user permission before sharing personal information?
The key issue is not so much whether the methodology that Cambridge Analytica touted, this psychographic stuff, mattered. The key issue is that the data were available to the Trump campaign.
Well, this is now a legal and political fight in London as well, where Cambridge Analytica worked on the Brexit campaign.
The special counsel Robert Mueller reportedly wants emails between the company and the Trump team as part of his investigation. Late today, Facebook called for a complete audit of what happened. Now, coming up on Fox 45 News at 10 o'clock, his Twitter game was just as good as a record-breaking basketball game. Meet the top tweeter later on Fox 45 News at 10.
Coming up, the questions tonight about the firing of a former top FBI official.
Next, we'll take you live to Austin, Texas for the latest on the investigation into the serial bombings there. New information about the location of the most recent bomb in less than 3 minutes on Fox 45 News at 10.
So tomorrow morning, it looks like it's going to be starting on the form of light rain. Then we get into the afternoon, sleet and rain. And then as we see the evening settle in, we'll see sleet, rain, and snow. The further north you're in the state, north of Baltimore City, snow will already be coming down. And it looks like it's going to be a major event tomorrow night and then into Wednesday. That's going to be the day. I'm going to break it down for you in just a few minutes.
New information tonight on the latest bombing attack in Austin, Texas.
Local and federal agents are still on the scene more than 24 hours after a fourth bomb there. Our Ashley King has been out there all day long gathering information. She joins us live with what she's learning. Ashley?
Well, investigators just cleared the scene about 45 minutes ago. I want you to take a look right here. You can see where that bomb exploded. You can see it kind of made a little crater there in the grass. Now, Austin police say now that residents are allowed back into their homes, they're getting additional information from home security cameras. From a bird's eye view, we're getting our first look of the latest explosion scene in Austin. Debris scattered everywhere and a bike laying in the road next to it. Investigators say two men were walking with their bikes when they ran over a tripwire that detonated a bomb.
But it also really concerns us because it's more of a random target.
In a one-on-one interview, ATF Special Agent in Charge Fred Malinowski tells me explosive specialists will now analyze the evidence collected at the scene.
They've looked at so many over the years that they'll be able to put this back together, comparing it to the 3 previous devices that we already have, and they will be able to have a good indication of how this thing was built and what the components were.
This morning, the Austin police chief also asked any residents in the area with security cameras to turn over that video. Tonight, we've learned some have answered the call.
We are getting video turned in, and that is something that we're running through all of our analytics to see if there's anything that will help us in identifying the suspect or suspects in this incident.
While tips have led investigators to persons of interest, they have not made any contact with a possible suspect or suspects. Now, again, you're taking a live look at where that bomb exploded. Investigators are still trying to figure out exactly who left that here. So if you do know anything, you could receive a reward of up to $115,000 for information that leads to an arrest. Reporting live in Austin, I'm Ashley King.
All right, Ashley, thank you. More than 1,000 educators descend on Annapolis tonight. They're urging state lawmakers to pass a so-called lockbox bill to guarantee a huge boost in education funding. John Rydell is live at the State House to explain how that could happen. John?
Jennifer, this has certainly been a very hot issue for not only members of the General Assembly, but educators as well. And hundreds, perhaps more than 1,000 teachers turned out tonight, and they marched all around State Circle to support this constitutional amendment. It would have voters decide whether all casino revenue would go directly to K-12 education funding. Now, technically, it already does, but these teachers say in recent years, both governors and members of the General Assembly have used what they call a shell game to divert education funding to other programs.
We believe that instead of putting that casino money in addition to our funds, they deleted funds that we were supposed to get and used it instead of the funds.
Now, in the meantime, Governor Hogan has his own idea. He would like to invest about $4 billion in additional education funding over the next 10 years without the use of a constitutional amendment. Now, that bill enacted by the Senate tonight now goes to the House for debate. Live in Annapolis, John Rydell, Fox 45 News.
John, thank you. The University of Maryland, Baltimore County is being called a Cinderella team after an impressive postseason run. Their impressive season came to an end after they lost to Kansas State. Well, the players made sure the country knows who UMBC is, but a lone guy tweeting during the team's run did his part on Twitter to put the school on the social media map. While the UMBC men's Retrievers basketball team was winning games and taking names in the NCAA tournament, somebody was minding the fort back in Catonsville. That person was Zach Seidel.
I graduated bachelor's in 2012, master's in 2015. I'm the director of multimedia communications.
These days, Seidel has his hands full shaping the social media image of UMBC's athletic programs. And boy, has he shaped it. This weekend, as the team made history, Zach was on fire. The Twitterverse hanging on his every word. When the Retrievers beat Virginia Friday night, 74-54, Zach had this tweet and a regret.
The one where we said we won, put some respect on it, you know. We've defeated Virginia. I missed a comma. That still haunts me.
He was funny.
Someone was like, your admissions are going to go up 400%, and I was like, woo, new buildings.
He was humble.
One of the ones from yesterday after the final where I said, you know, Kansas State may have won, but we hope we won your hearts. That one had over 100,000 likes.
A Kansas State tweet may have been the best example of how much UMBC's athletic stock has risen. It read simply, respect the hustle and heart you showed at UMBC Athletics. Best of luck in 2018-19. This experience has Seidel looking at the big picture.
This is a great school. You know, we're a young school, 50 years old, but, you know, all this exposure can help us really grow and people realize what a great academic institution we are.
Well, I think they realize that now, Zach, no question about that. UMBC's historic 16th seed win earned you a free lunch, by the way. As they have in past years, Little Caesars Pizza promised pizza that if any 16 seed beat a 1 seed, they give away a free pizza lunch for their customers. And they're keeping that promise in 2 weeks. Between 11:30 and 1 p.m. on Monday, April 2nd, every customer is entitled to one free $5 lunchbox special. How about that?
That sounds pretty good to me, actually. Yeah. Well, snow, rain, hail, and hundreds of damaged vehicles.
Take a look at all the trouble in today's storm and that it caused. First to Colorado, as heavy spring snow came down 2 to 3 inches of it at times. And hard going for drivers in Denver, Colorado. As you can see, things were moving at a crawl on the interstate there as heavy snow coated the highway.
Not snow, but hail in Texas. Look at this mess left behind in Caldwell. The Chevrolet dealership was hit hard on Sunday. According to the general manager, 348 vehicles sustained damage, many of which will be totaled.
And another mess in the southeast. Finally to Alabama, where tornado warnings triggered Monday in Muscle Shoals as storms brought hail and heavy rain to that area. Well, a potentially big winter storm is moving into Maryland.
Here is a live look from the Fox 45 mobile track right now. It is in northern Baltimore County, almost near the Pennsylvania line. You can see right now things continue to look pretty clear, but we are waiting on some rain to arrive really pretty much any time, right?
Indeed. Let's check with meteorologist Vetus Reed. Vetus?
Yeah, this is quite an interesting storm. We have a lot going into this, so we're going to go through it hour by hour and talk about how this will affect your timing, your schedules, and your day over the next couple of days here. So here's what's going on. We're looking at a weather alert day starting with tomorrow, because we're going to see it start out in the form of light showers mixing with some sleet, and then it's going to turn into snow, especially along the northern tier of the state and the eastern part of the state as we go through the mid-morning afternoon. So we have winter storm watches. All this blue shaded area, Northern Virginia, Central Maryland, including Baltimore City down the I-95 corridor, stretching up the I-95 corridor, all the eastern shore, Delaware, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, all the way up towards Massachusetts. So once again, a nor'easter that's going to start to form and drop heavy amounts of snowfall. And we're going to see this as we go through the day on Tuesday night into Wednesday. That's going to be the time where it really starts changing over to snow. So let's take a look at the wider view. All the folks who are involved with this, stretching up the I-95 corridor through Philadelphia, New York, New Haven, all the way to Boston. That means travel will be impacted for millions of people as we go through the next couple of days. So tomorrow morning's travel might not be so bad, just wet roads here and there. But what we have to watch is this storm that's going to be continuing to moving in from the west that's going to continue to track our direction. So let's fly through the clouds, taking a look at the big old weather map here. This low pressure here is what's causing a lot of the severe weather down towards Georgia, Alabama, as this warm front stretches our direction, bringing all that moisture our direction. As it continues to move our way, there's a secondary low down towards Georgia that's going to continue to give us more potential for more moisture building into the cold air. So let's time out your day through the day tomorrow evening, and then into Wednesday morning. As we take a look here on the future scan, you can see how it's in the form of rain. The green is indicating the showers in the form of rain. Pink is this freezing precip like sleet. And then we're looking at the blue indicating snow. Now, of course, this is not exact, but this is an idea with the model run showing what we could see. We can see this activity that's going to move across the area. This is around 11 a.m. looking at that mixing going on Tuesday. And then it's really still all mainly snow on the northern tier of the state, north of Baltimore, 2 p.m. But here's where it really starts changing over. We're seeing that mixing most of the day tomorrow, but these areas to the north will definitely start getting that accumulation. But take a look at when the cold air starts moving in. I paused it at 5 a.m. on Wednesday. Look at the blue shaded area all the way down through Laurel and Annapolis. It's kicking out the mixing, and we're seeing all snow Wednesday morning, 8 a.m., all across the state. This is 1 p.m. This is looking at 4 p.m. Heavy wet snow across the area until late evening by the time it gets out of here. So what are the numbers I'm looking at? Well, we're looking at 6 to 8 inches, and it has inched up over the city of Baltimore. We're looking at the northeastern portion of the city, including Cockeysville, Pikesville, Westminster, 6 to 8 inches, Bel Air, Jarrettsville, down towards Aberdeen, 6 to 8, Elkton, Chesapeake City towards Chestertown on the eastern shore, 6 to 8. We're looking down towards Stevensville, about 4 to 6. It drops off a little bit, but this is a lot of snow. BWI corridor, 4 to 6 down towards Columbia and Laurel, as well as Annapolis. So this is a lot of snow coming down through the day, heavy wet snow. Let's head down to the lower eastern shore, looking at 4 to 6 in Salisbury, down towards Cambridge, 4 to 6. Still over towards Denton and Vienna, looking at 6 to 8 inches of snow. And even down towards Prince Frederick, we're looking at 4 to 6. Western Maryland, that's the heaviest amount of snowfall coming down. Once you get west of Frederick, we'll see those numbers ramp right up. Hagerstown, 8 to 12 inches of snow. 12 to 18 inches of snow once you get west of Hancock on I-68 heading into Cumberland. Out there in western Maryland, Garrett County, definitely 12 to 18 inches of snow. We're talking about a foot and a half of snow. So a lot of snow coming down as we go through the evening. Now that's my forecast. I'm going to show you the model run real quick for central Maryland. This is showing 10:30 by tomorrow evening. The northern part of the state getting as much as 3 to 4 inches, and then I extend this through Wednesday morning. This is what the computer's looking at, anywhere from 4 to 6, as much as 7 inches across the northern tier, 9 to 11 inches of snowfall back to the west. So this is pretty right on target forecast as far as numbers coming down. Everybody's going to get impacted by this as we get into Wednesday night. It looks like we're going to need those shovels, and we're going to have to keep those close by. Looking at a major storm moving in as we get into Tuesday night and then into Wednesday. Temperatures will be in the low 30s. Well, here's the best part. Spring arrives on Tuesday, and then we'll see that storm moving in Tuesday night into Wednesday. Heavy snowfall coming down through Wednesday morning, really impacting our travel. Then the storm leaves us. Thursday, we have windy conditions. Friday, we clear up. Saturday, a little bit of rain possible, maybe some snowflakes, 44. Sunday, 46 and 47 on Monday. So we are still in the core of colder air because normally this time of year we should have 55 degrees, kind of like what we had today for our highs with plenty of sunshine. But get ready, folks. It looks like it's going to be a messy one, especially as we get into Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. Back to you guys.
All right, Vitas, thank you. They seem like antiques, but we'll tell you the reason why phone companies are keeping payphones around when the News at 10 continues.
The questions tonight about the firing of a former top FBI official after the break.
New at 11 o'clock, an audit shows Baltimore Fire Department changed its numbers to disguise its failure to meet smoke detector installation goals. Ahead, how fire officials are responding to the audit.
First, it was FBI Director James Comey, now Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. The Trump administration has fired both men. McCabe's termination coming late Friday night. Surrounding the news are reports of alleged wrongdoing by McCabe and accusations of retaliation by the president. Chief Political Correspondent Scott Thuman has the latest on big developments from Washington.
When at almost the last hour, the Justice Department sent word to the FBI it was firing Deputy Director Andrew McCabe just before his scheduled retirement, Washington became besieged by questions. Was it retaliation pushed by President Trump for McCabe's part in the so-called Russia, quote, witch hunt?
It just seemed mean-spirited to come down on a guy within 48 hours of his scheduled retirement.
Or was it warranted? The New York Times has written the Inspector General's report, due out soon, may criticize McCabe for allegedly authorizing the release of information to journalists about the 2016 Hillary Clinton email case, then possibly misleading investigators about his actions.
And now it's turned its head, and now they're going against Trump. Really, the FBI needs to stay out of political affairs.
Either way, Republican Lindsey Graham is calling for Capitol Hill hearings about McCabe's firing.
And I think we owe it to the average American to have a hearing in the Judiciary Committee.
While several Democrats are offering up employment to McCabe, tweeting out job offers that could keep his full pension in place.
I don't care if he comes work for me or anyone, but we should make sure that he has his pension at minimum, and that what the president did was just wrong.
McCabe says he was singled out for his support of his former boss here at the FBI, James Comey. And according to media reports, McCabe kept notes of his meetings with President Trump and has turned those over to the special counsel. At FBI headquarters, I'm Scott Thuman.
Join us tomorrow night for a live Your Voice, Your Future roundtable. The Pulse of America will stream on our website Tuesday from 7 to 8 p.m. And join us Wednesday night for a Your Voice, Your Future roundtable. American Schools 911. That's Wednesday starting from 7 p.m. on foxbaltimore.com. Well, they're a rare sight, but apparently payphones still exist in America. Even more shocking, people are still using them. According to the FCC, there are 100,000 payphones throughout the country. About a fifth of them are in New York. With cell phones rising in popularity, the number of payphones has steadily declined. In 1999, there were around 2 million. Surprisingly, payphones remain somewhat of a steady business. The FCC says that providers reported a $286 million revenue in 2015.
How much is a payphone call today? I have no idea.
Does it still take a quarter?
I guess.
Do you put your credit card in?
That was the last thing I used was a card.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't answer that question.
Oh, well, somebody will tell us.
What's in the forecast? That's an important question tonight. Chief Meteorologist Vetus Reed is here to answer that one. Vetus.
Well, it looks like this storm is turning out to be a doozy. In fact, the models were really good on this. Now we'll see if it holds true as we go through the next 24 hours, 36 hours. But definitely these models were showing about as much as 9 inches of snow about a day and a half to 2 days ago. But you don't want to throw that out there yet as it is still forming and formulating. But definitely we have time to prepare. I know folks will be at the grocery store by tomorrow. Here's what's going on. Taking a look at 6 to 8 inches across the northern tier of the state. We're looking at even northern parts of Baltimore City, around Northern Parkway, all that. Very possible to get 6 to 8 inches of snow. We're looking at through southern Baltimore City as you get down towards BWI, Catonsville, and down towards Lansdowne. All those areas as much as maybe 4 to 6 inches. Of course, these numbers will shift a little bit as the storm gets closer to the eastern shore, as much as 6 to 8 inches of snowfall as we get in through this system on Wednesday. So it looks like it'll start out in the form of rain, sleet, then snow as we go through the day on Tuesday. Tuesday night becoming more on the snow, and then it's all snow for Wednesday morning. Travel will greatly be impacted all along the eastern seaboard. Take note now, check ahead with your flights and any delays that will be occurring. Back to you.
Vetus, thank you. Coming up in 10 minutes on the Late Edition, an oncoming spring storm could dump snow on these streets tonight into tomorrow and into Wednesday. Stay with us as we track the road conditions and possible snow totals.
Ryan Odom led UMBC to the biggest upset in college basketball history. So how do you hang on to him? They're going to try. That's next in Sports Unlimited. We have breaking news from West Baltimore tonight. Here's a live look at a crime scene in West Baltimore near the intersection of Westwood and Moreland Avenues. Police are investigating reports of a shooting. Homicide investigators have been called to the scene. Fox 45 will bring you more information as we get it.
Just imagine being the homecoming queen during prom week. Well, that's exactly how UMBC coach Ryan Odom must be feeling tonight. Every school with a coaching opening will look his way, guaranteed. And the school is going to do what it can to keep him. In 2016, Odom took over a team that had won only 7 games a year before. The turnaround was fast. 21 wins last year, 25 more in the NCAA berth this season. The school understands he's a hot prospect, and they say they will approach Odom with a new long-term contract offer. Athletic Director Tim Hall told ESPN he will make an offer, quote, within the realm of what we can do. He says he knows Odom will move on, but eventually, they hope it won't be anytime soon. Currently, he makes around $230,000 a year. Orioles' Chris Tillman was awful last time out. Walked 6 batters in 2 innings. Today he was much better. Worked 5 innings against the Tigers. Didn't issue a single walk. Scattered 6 hits. Gave up just a single run to get the win. Now with Mark Trumbo on the disabled list, Pedro Alvarez sees a path to making the roster, and that had to help. Rips the double into right field. Presley comes around to score. The Orioles had the lead. Now 21-year-old Jomar Reyes won't make the club. He's never played above single-A ball, but that's a major league swing. Reyes smacks a 2-run homer that helped the Orioles take a 4-2 victory. They host Tampa Bay tomorrow night. We got an update on the Ravens salary cap situation. That's at 11:30 as Sports Unlimited continues.
Thank you, Bruce. From a historic win to incredible sales when the news at 10 continues.
UMBC's historic run comes to an end, but the team's success is driving fans to the school bookstore.
Yeah, they've been busy. University officials tell us during the last fiscal year they had about 1,500 online orders for merchandise, but between Friday and today, they've had about 3,300 orders. Additional bookstore staff now helping with the influx of orders.